morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I know there's a lot of people joining us from all over the world. I see the UK is here. We've got some Canadians joining us, a few Americans. Hello, everyone. I saw somebody from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining us on the first AMA that we've had in a little while. We took a break during that holiday season, and we are very, very happy to be back. We thought we would kick off this new year with buttons, dials, and menus, and the questions are blowing up. So I think we've got our work definitely cut out for us tonight. So why don't I just go ahead and jump right into it? I'm Mishalla. I am from the US team from the Tech Experts, and I'm actually going to introduce one of our newest tech members based out of the UK, Richard. Hello, Richard. Nice to meet you.
Hello. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me. It's been a wild ride so far, but here, ready to go. Let's do it.
Awesome. And then we have PJ coming all the way in from Poland. Hello,
hello from Eastern Europe.
Familiar face on the Ask Me Anythings, and my fellow United States of American, Mike Amico. Hello, Mike.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Good to see you, Richard.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
Yeah, we've got a new team member out of the UK, and I know a lot of us miss Claire, and we wish her super well because she was the best host of the AMAs, and I will try to do a semi-good job here for you all tonight. So I'm going to kick off with some of our initial questions that we've already got started, but you guys know how this process goes as we're going along. If you have new questions that pop up, please feel free to add them to the chat, and I will be monitoring it throughout. There's an echo somewhere. Yes, I'm trying to figure out where that is from. I see your comments. Who's creating the echo? All right, did that help? I think I solved it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, sounds good. These are live streams and everything either goes really well or really wrong. So thank you all for joining us. And I guess we can go ahead and kick off the initial question, OM3 related question. I know PJ's a big fan of the OM3.
Yeah.
Photographics wants to know that they're new to the OM3. What's a good basic menu setup for video? Just auto, or do you have a specific setting you would go for?
No, maybe no typical auto, but of course it depends of your computer. It depends of what you are doing with this file after recording, and it depends of your knowledge about video making. In my opinion, you should start from P mode, program mode, with 4K, of course, 4K 60 or 50. It depends where are you living. And if your computer is okay for playing with files after recording, I recommend you H.265 codec in 10 bits record. I'm also used to flat, because flat is looking good without any color grading, and it's okay to start playing with color grading in post-production. I think this is good for starting for video recording with OM3, and it's okay in 90% situation.
Nice. Mike, you got any filler in there? You're not a video guy, huh?
I'm not a video guy at all, but yeah, I'm more like, just put it in auto.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I usually do the full HD, but I do, like aperture priority, but I don't go like full 4K. I'm not going to edit that. So it really, like PJ said, kind of depends on where are you putting that video at the end? What is the end product of your video and how you have it set up?
I think also depends on what are you planning to do and what are you planning to compete with this mix with this file, because somebody have from holidays some videos from camera, some videos from action camera, some videos from phones, and if you want to mix it all together, you should think about the same settings in all cameras. This is the most important part of starting doing bigger production. even if from holiday.
All right. All right. So we are at. Does anyone in this group do Astro or Northern Lights? PJ, I feel like that might be you too. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Astro, maybe not Deep Sky Astro, but Northern Light. I can help. There is two schools for Northern Light. I am from Light Composite School because I am lazy and I want to press start and press stop when it's finished. But some people using also bulk mode or lifetime mode for Northern Light. Of course, you can support by Starry Sky autofocus because it's a great function to autofocus in totally dark. And I think normal settings like aperture, ISO, or time in live composite, interval time in live composite, you should set on situation, because it depends of situation, it depends of how wide angle you have, what will be in your final picture. If it's different settings will be when you will have some cities under Northern Light, different will be in totally darkness. It depends. In Astro, I am weaker than in Northern Light, in Deep Sky Astro.
Anybody else familiar with
Mike, help?
Yeah, I mean, Northern Lights you're only like a few seconds before they go out, right? So definitely your brightest lens, and you want to keep that open, right? So if you have a 1.8 or a 2.8, you want to open that right up. And ISO, yeah, you're going to be around 800, 1600 to start. You're going to get up there with your ISO. And I would say, like PJ said, I mean, for me, it would be live time, so I can see it happen, or it would be just a few seconds on bulb to kind of get an idea of where I'm at. And then you just go from there. As far as Astro, if you're talking like deep space, are we talking, just more like star trails and that kind of thing? Sort of similar, right? But that would be more live comp, or unless you want star points. That's a whole nother thing, right?
Right. So I would say using the OM5 Mark II, I would set up a custom mode on your one custom dial if Astro or Northern Lights tends to be something that you're interested in. This is what I do with my OM1, and it's kind of set to the basics. It automatically turns on Starry Sky autofocus for me. I actually turn off my noise reduction. I will utilize obviously my fastest lenses, just like Mike said. If you have one of the 1.2 lenses, they're great. The 8mm 1.8 is great. The 12mm f2.0 is kind of the unsung hero in our lineup for Astro. It's cheap, it's small, it's easy to pack with you. It's a good one for those wide angle shots, shooting wide open. Mind your 500 rule so that you can get those star points. And if you guys want, you can also check out our events page. I actually linked it in the chat earlier. We do have some deep dives with some of our ambassadors covering astrophotography specifically. And you can also always check out our website. We have some really comprehensive guides, and actually on here as well on YouTube. If you look at some of our older videos, we have quite a bit on some of the astrophotography as a deep dive. So definitely check those out.
Very interesting technique in night astrophotography is also using high-res, handheld high-res on tripods to take longer picture of only sky. But this is only when you don't have any landscape on a picture, only sky.
All right, I'm jumping through. I'm just trying to review some of these questions. They're coming in so fast. I think this is probably the most questions we've ever had in a live stream ever. They're coming in hot and heavy. Okay, next one up. I'm not sure. We might actually need clarification on this question from Hartzell Photo. I just purchased the 150 to 600 millimeters. Are there any settings I need to make sure are correct to use it with the EM1 Mark III? Other than firmware updates, I don't
Yeah, and then maybe just keep an eye on the focus limiter, because when you get that lens, it might look a little different if you haven't had one with all the little switches on the side. So you want to make sure you have, if you're using autofocus, obviously make sure the autofocus is on. You're going to get a few switches. That's the 100 or 400, but you'll have a focus limiter. You'll have your stabilizer on off switch. You want to make sure that's on. And then the focus limiter is it allows you to shoot within a certain range, which could make the lens a little bit quicker, when you're focusing, whether you're focusing close or far, or you want the full range of the lens. So just, typically full range of the lens when you're learning. And then if you want to shoot something just close, you can flip it to that. You can flip it to long range if you want to shoot something far out. Just remember that you flipped it to one of those if you do that, or you won't be able to catch something close or far. Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, it's just plug and play. Just pop it on and go have fun.
One thing more, there is a very great button for buttons around the lens, like in 100 to 400 and 50 to 200. And this is great to have, for example, custom mode there to switch very fast from one settings to another settings in every position on the camera. I'm using this for buttons always to have some very important function there. Time to time there is autofocus recognition. Time to time is some custom mode, but this what you should think what there is important for you.
Also the handling of the lens, right? So it's a little bit heavier. It's got a heavier front end. So when you're pulled all the way back with your zoom, you can lock it. So when you're traveling, you want to keep that lock. So if you put it on a monopod or something, but when you zoom out, the nice thing is you can actually zoom out by pulling the front element. You don't have to use the zoom. It kind of makes it more manageable where you can, balance it better when you're pulling that zoom out. So.
All right, we got a little clarification. So maybe Richard wants to jump in here. So Hartzell clarified what image stabilization should we have it set on in the menu?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So IS auto, absolutely. I don't think you need to be any more complicated than that in reality. The camera and the lens are there to do the work for you. So, throw it in auto, be ready to go. So.
Yeah, and just make sure your switch on the side of the lens is also turned on as well, and you didn't bump that off because that will overwrite it and turn off your image stabilization.
And you'll know when that happens. You'll be shooting one day after shooting for many months with the OM system, and you'll shoot a bird or something. You'll be like, "Why is it out of focus?" You'll realize you're at like 100th of a second, and you switched off your stabilizer.
Yeah. Only other thing I'd say as well, just make sure that you haven't locked the lens as well when you're trying to zoom out. I've done that 1,000 times. So.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I think we clarified that, and there's some comments going back and forth in the chat. I love you guys all helping out in the chat and helping your fellow photographers with tips and tricks as we move through. All right. Next one up has to do with Pro Capture. This should be a fairly simple one. Stephen Hyde wants to know, does the AF still track when using ProCap SH2 bird autofocus, full screen with back button focus? Presume that we have to keep the back button pressed, ? I added that. That's editorial. This is a loaded question because there's like 5 components to it.
Yeah. So autofocus will track and metering ometer when using ProCap SH2. The back button focus. Okay, PJ, I always forget this. So when you're using ProCap with back button, you still have to press that shutter button halfway down to get it to work, I believe. Hold on.
Question.
That's one.
I know. I'm like, all of a sudden, I want to try this.
I don't do back button. Yeah.
I think that it does. Hold on. ProCap SH2, back button focus. Yeah, it does. It's not.
Right.
It doesn't engage Pro Capture unless you're using the front button, but you can change that in the menu. I like how I have an epiphany in the middle of a live stream. Sorry, guys. I know Claire. And everybody's missing Claire Harvey May right now. Real bad. Yeah, it's in like the Pro Capture settings. I think you can assign it to the back button instead of the front.
Focusing will be on back button, shutter button will start Pro Capture.
Yeah. Mike's still going, but yes.
Yeah, I'm like,
So-
where's that?
I know. I like that you disappear and you just become a menu halfway through.
I know. I'm sorry.
I cannot.
All right. At any rate,
I think PJ found it,
You got
right?
it.
That it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
does.
he's faster to me.
Okay. So confirming that it will still start the Pro Capture with the back button.
Okay.
Pro
Yeah, I'm not a
Capture
back
on
window. Sorry.
Pro Capture and metering on shutter button, autofocus on back button.
Yes. Okay. We got a lot on tracking today. This one, what tracking setting do you use for lions, tigers, bears? Oh my, subject detection, or do you use continuous autofocus plus tracking? I'm having trouble with spotted animals and subject detection.
It depends of camera.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it's probably an OM1 or an
if you-
OM1 Mark II.
If you have OM1 second, you should forgot about continuous autofocus with tracking and use only continuous autofocus because subject detection working only with continuous autofocus. If you have OM1 fifth generation, you can use also tracking, but even, in my opinion, better result you will have with continuous autofocus with smaller point with subject detection for animals. And of course, autofocus sensitivity +1.
Would you use cats or dogs, or would you go just do bird?
Cat and dogs.
Yeah,
Cat
I use
and
bird for everything.
Dogs. Our ambassador Marcin Debas, this is only one guy who found some goat, what is not recognized by autofocus as animal. This living in Alps, one type of goat, but every animal is recognized, but cat and dogs without problems. Even some kids is recognized by cat and dogs time to time.
Yeah. Yeah, mine picks up my kids as cats and dogs too. I don't think they like that, but whatever. Yeah, and to PJ's point, when you're utilizing, if you have the original generation of the OM1, if you're using subject detection, do not use tracking on top of
Right.
it. It will actually counteract it and make it not track as well. So you just want to use the AI subject detection with continuous autofocus.
Yeah, tracking becomes your tracking, basically, the AI tracking.
Right. Okay. Next up, we have, I'd like to learn how to set up focus tracking and how to make corrections. Kind regards. So focus tracking on, it would be helpful if you could tell us what camera model when you ask your questions. That really does help us kind of narrow down because each model has slightly different tracking.
And
However,
what correction?
yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to understand. So if you could clarify this question for us a little bit, we'd love to help you answer it. Focus tracking, though, is set up in your super control panel. So just by pressing that OK button, maybe, Mike, you can bring it up on the screen, show us where it is on the
the
super
Mark
control
II.
panel.
So
Yeah.
Mark II, basically, you can go into your super control panel, press OK, and your subject tracking is right here. So you can kind of scroll through. On the OM1, what you can do is actually go into your function buttons, and you can make one of your function buttons your button for your AI. So you can do that. And then when you press that button and turn your dial, you can get through as well.
Yeah. Will you show where to change to continuous autofocus too? Like go to the super
Absolutely.
control panel. Yep, right
here.
there.
So that's where you'd want to be continuous autofocus. I have plus MF right now. There's one other thing too. When you're doing the tracking for AI, in the Mark II, the OM1 Mark II, in the subject detection area, there is a setting for CAF where you can either use all, which is what the OM1 original does, or you can use this one here, which basically allows the bird focus or the AI focus to kind of go where your focus target is, where your selection is for focusing. So where all that you're kind of letting the AI focus do its thing, right? It's going to find a bird or an animal and follow it instead of you following it. So
yeah, but feel free if you want to clarify that question a little bit more for us and let us know what camera model you're on. We can try to address that a little bit more direct. Okay, this is the one. We were actually talking about this before the live stream even started this morning. And thank you for letting us know that you were talking about the OM1 Mark II. How do I set up and get spot metering and bird focus in the same square? And PJ figured this out because we were all discussing this.
If you have on 1 second and you choose an eye detection and spot metering, spot metering will be connected with point of focusing, object of focusing. This small dot on center, the circle on center of your screen is only information to you what type of information, what type of metering you have turn on. It's only show you this is spot metering, but camera will meter on your object. If object will go out from your screen, camera will back to this center point.
Excellent. All right. I'm sorry. I was going through comments trying to figure out where we are. All right. This one we'll probably need a camera for so we can show people. Again, helps us if you let us know what camera model we're talking about in the chat. So just for future, as you add to our questions, it definitely helps us. But let's start with how to... I love live streams. There we go. It wasn't popping up. Can you go through how to set up back button focus on the camera and what are the advantage of it? So now in the OM1 and the OM1 Mark II, back button focus is already automatically assigned to the back of your camera. So I'm assuming this has got to be an older model camera that we're setting up.
In some models,
like EM1 Mark II.
In some old camera, it was here in the switch 1 and 2.
But there's a spot in EM1 Mark III where you could assign AEL
the
in
EM1s,
the menus. Yeah, so you would go to menus, buttons and dials, and in the buttons and dials, you could assign your AEL button on the back of the camera to be autofocus. So if you don't have, that's the EM1 Mark II. So that's, I don't know if you can.
The only other thing you want to do
menu
is right here, AF by half pressing. So you might want to turn that off if you don't want it to sort of focus again, if I'm correct. So your back button will be working automatically out of the box on the OM1. And then you could shut that off so that you're not gonna, you're just gonna meter and shoot with the front button.
But yeah, so Rich B, to answer your question, because I just saw you pop up on that you have the EM1 Mark II. So it isn't automatically set up out of the box on that camera. I wish I had one sitting here, but I don't. But if you go into your deep menu, it's in gears. It's under B for buttons and dials. And in there, you can assign that AEL button on the back of your camera to be back button focus. So you can assign it in there. I don't use back button, but we were actually talking about this before the live stream too, when we were in the lobby, and I don't use back button focus. So I can't speak to the advantages of it, but I don't know, Richard, do you use back button focus at all for your photography?
I actually don't know. The reason being is that, yes, I find the back button focusing faster, but I find it easier to control through the shutter button. As simple as that, really. Yeah, I don't really see any other benefits unless you're shooting a lot of wildlife. That's where I see a massive benefit from shooting with back button focusing completely.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
using
Mike.
a lot.
Oh, you do, PJ?
Yeah, because you can separate metering from autofocus. For example, if you're panning any dynamic situation and your object is on shadow, light, and you don't want to autofocus without, for example, grass, object, trees, etc., different different something between your object and you. You can only press shutter, do pictures, for example, in panning, and not change autofocus. This is why I'm using autofocus, back button autofocus in sport photography since I think 10 years. Every time it's very useful in dynamics sport situation, but you need to try this and try it many times, because first days with a back button autofocus without autofocus on shutter button will give you many of not focused pictures in 100%. First week, first month will be you will have many situations when you press shutter button, you will take pictures without focus because you forgot about autofocus. But after a few trainings, in my opinion, it's much better and much faster than using everything on one shutter button.
PJ, have you found any better on kind of any particular camera? So, like, have you on the OM3? Do you find it an easier button to get to in comparison to like the OM1 or something?
For example, on OM3, I'm using this because I'm focusing non-stop on my kids, and I always want to have focus on my kids and shutter pressing. To be honest, it's very hard to give advantages of using this button if you don't try this. I'm using this on OM1 from many years in EM1, EM1 second, EM1 third. In your OM3, maybe I can use only shutter button, but I'm I don't know in English. My hand memory push me to use autofocus on button in every situation.
Okay, so
I'm just sorting through the questions. They're kind of bouncing around again. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is all bouncing. You guys chat a lot. I did see a comment about trying to do these live. Yes, I think that even Tomas gave me some pushback when I suggested we do menus and dials live, because like you're seeing here, there's a lot of different opinions. There's a lot of different options, and each camera has kind of a lot of different features inside the menu. So it's hard for us to address all of them live. Again, I will put it back in the chat. Again, we do have an events page. It's got all of our online Zoom classes and all of our YouTubes and our in-person events. And we do actually cover several menus classes, especially for the newer models. We have them on OM5, OM3, OM1 to help you really maximize setting up your camera and kind of getting used to some of these kind of more basic things, but it's hard for us to address them across all the different cameras as we go. So definitely bear with us as we get through this. Okay, so we already did back button focus. Okay, so we're on to C1, C2, C3, C4. When you switch back to for example, aperture priority mode, do the camera settings revert to the last used settings in that mode?
Yes. Camera,
Yes.
remember all settings from PSM modes if you're back from C1, C2, C3, C4, or some C5 even in OM3. And remember that the same situation, like if you turn off and turn on camera, camera will be remember all settings.
Perfect. That was an easy one. Low-hanging fruit. This one, I'm going to ask Doug APR to clarify which camera of EM10 model he has to talk about some of the advanced features on that camera, because it varies greatly between the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you can drop that in the chat, we'll circle back around to some of the features that are in the EM10.
EM10 was first camera with live composite.
This is true. I love live composite. That's my favorite. All right, now another computational mode. Regarding high-res mode, why wouldn't you use it all the time or most of the time? Richard, do you want to hit this one first?
Yeah, so I do a lot of landscape photography, so I use this all the time. Realistically, disadvantages, obviously, it takes time to compose and stitch those images together, depending on how fast your memory card is as well. But realistically, if you're doing landscape stuff, I would say use it all the time. Even if you're kind of using the handheld side of it, if your camera's got that. In terms of disadvantages, yeah, it's just kind of a little bit slower in terms of, but if you have a fast memory card in there, you're normally fine. So yeah, realistically, obviously, just don't try and use it for wildlife or anything fast moving. That's normally a good start, right? Because it's not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only reason you can't use it all the time or most of the time is if a subject is moving, or even in landscapes, right? It can be kind of tricky if you're using tripod high res mode, because if the trees are moving too much, you're going to get that motion. Although it can give a really cool effect to like waterfalls and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can definitely experiment with it, but it does not work on moving subjects at all. It will just say it can't align. I actually ran into that the other day doing stars with handheld high res PJ. I was shaking too much. I knocked the camera and it wouldn't align. So if there's too much motion, that you'll actually just get a failure message on the back of your camera saying that it couldn't create the high res composite.
Yeah, the cool thing is with like waterfalls, you can slow it right down and get that ND effect, which is kind of neat. So
I'm just starring a few more questions that are popping through. Okay. This one's pretty basic. Can you use a computational ND mode like ND4 with an external ND filter to get an ND10 equivalent?
Yes, of course. But this will be not ND10. For example, if you add ND2, this is 2 steps of exposure, and ND8 physical, this is 3 steps. This will be this will be 5 EV steps, and this is 2 to 5. This is. Sorry, my mathematics. This will be ND32. You need to multiply ND from physical on ND from electronic to count how many ND you will have.
Interesting. I did not know that, actually.
yeah.
But yes, super simple to use an external ND to get more. I know our ambassador here in the US, Matt Seuss, does that pretty regularly. He combines both the computational ND mode with the filters as well. And Doug asked what is ND, and it's a neutral density filter. It's kind of darkens up your image a little bit, allows you to do longer exposures and brighter daylight. That's how you often get that flowy waterfall effect. It's built into most of our new model cameras as a computational feature, but you can do it with external filters as well. Oof, this one's a deep dive into star trails. I know we kind of hit on it, but basic settings for OM1 Mark II or Mark I regarding Milky Way and star trails. for the record, Milky Way and star trails are two completely different sets of settings. They're polar opposite. What are the best settings? Star trails, live composite.
Live composite, wide angle, 4-pack of good drink, and many time, long time.
Long time,
Yeah.
and a heating blanket.
Yeah, open it up
Yeah.
all the way, your aperture, maybe 800 to 1600 ISO for star trails, and then do maybe 30 seconds to start out, and that'll give you a starting point for live composite. Milky Way is a little bit different because you're looking more at like star points again, right? So you want to use your brightest lens, and then you can use the 400 or 500 rule, where you get an idea of how many seconds on your lens before you start seeing the stars move, right? So you basically divide that focal length, the equivalent focal length, into 500 or 400, and that'll give you that. So 17 millimeter 1.2, you might have like 20 seconds before the stars start to move. So it's a good starting point to get the Milky Way. Again, opening up your aperture and a little bit higher ISO. But Milky Way, you definitely want to get into your editing. That's where you're going to bring a lot more out as well. That's something that you really have to shoot raw and really edit.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And maybe tungsten if you want.
I was going to
for white
say,
balance.
yeah. Adjust your white balance. Definitely want to shoot in RAW or RAW plus JPEG on those Milky Way shots. You're going to need a higher ISO on your Milky Way shots as well, shorter shutter speed because of the star points, and live composite. You can actually get away with really low ISOs on live composite. It's great. I've shot a bunch of star trails at 200 ISO. So that's the one advantage of using that computational feature for your star trails. Okay. I'm getting lost as to where I am in the. Oh, found us. Okay. This one gets asked all the time at every camera store I've ever done a demo at. I'm just getting into macro and struggling to understand how many images to use and what focus step to use in focus stacking with the 60 millimeter macro.
It depends.
It depends.
That's always what I say.
You know,
too.
it is almost trial and error depending on your subject. And then there's so many different variations and things that can change, like your aperture, whatever you use might change, or how many images you take, or so you almost have to play a little bit. Watch some of the videos we have where we show that from our ambassadors and techs, and then kind of play a little bit with the subject matter that you're trying to shoot, and you'll get a feel for sort of what you're looking for, you know, if that makes sense. But it is a lot of trial and error and a lot of playing, I think. What would you guys say?
If you want to take picture with something flat or something without detail, for example, coin, you can use very big step without problem. But if you have any object with many details, for example, fly with this hair on eyes, you need to use smaller step, because smaller step give your computer for stacking much more information how to stack these images and take out details from your object. Also, it depends on scale of magnification. Bigger magnification, smaller step. Smaller magnification, bigger step. All depend on situation, and I think macro photographers notice from experience. Everybody have own recipes for the best pictures, because it depends of what accessories you do, using flash or extension tube or some Rhinox. Everybody have different setups, different objects, different expectation of framing and magnification.
One thing too to keep in mind is with stacking, where your focus point is. So with stacking, it's going to come forward twice and then go back, whereas bracketing just goes back when it focuses. So you want to make sure you know where you're focusing so that you remember it's going to come forward a couple of times.
That's why I'm when I'm using focus bracketing, I always have single autofocus with manual focus to back before I'm focusing. I'm back a little with focus, and I'm starting to be sure to have all details before focusing point.
Right.
Excellent. Thank you. This next one should be a pretty quick one. Somebody had a question earlier, but then wanted to clarify their question. I'm using OM1 Mark II. When I press the playback button, I get the full photo to review, but I can't figure out how to magnify it. It's
Rear
just
dial.
the back dial, the rear dial on the back of the camera. When you're in the play mode and you're in your playback screen, all you got to do is rotate that rear dial, which I can't do upside down, and it will zoom right in on.
Or you can tap the screen and you can have a slider and do a manual.
Yeah. Okay, next up, let's see. Sailing team tally ho. I have an OM1 Mark II and I use the 50 to 200 for sports video. I would like to have the autofocus box be locked in the middle rather than have it be able to touch my screen and move by mistake. Oh, you can disable that, the touch screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or close screen.
Or close your screen, yes. But if you're trying to review images, you might not want to close your screen.
Still, viewfinder is better for review. It's I know all photographer look stupid when looking for screen and review by viewfinder, but in my opinion, it's better because you don't have problem with sun, you don't have problem with colors. You see everything clearly. Review by viewfinder is much better. I know this from experience as sport photographer.
Mike, can you do touchscreen on the live view or not, so that we can show?
No, not when it's plugged in. But I can unplug and do it from above. Maybe, I don't know if that.
I was going to say show it from above and just show how to turn off the touch screen on there. That might be helpful.
Oh,
okay, like when you tap on the back and you can go between focus, because that's what's happening. I think probably they're bonking their nose or their finger on the screen. Hold on, let me spotlight you. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So I have this giant lens on, which is going to be tough. Let me take my camera off. There we go. All right. So on the screen, which I can't focus on, there's a little spot right here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Come on, focus. But you just tap that. It'll turn it off. I know you can't get that.
Yeah, it goes through 3 settings on there when you tap it. There's one that's a green square with a finger, and that's touch to focus. And then the next one is a camera with a finger, and that's touch to focus and shoot. So anywhere you tap on the screen, it will focus on that place, and then it will automatically shoot the image. And then there is I
believe you could do it in the menu too, right? In the tool menu. Touch screen. Let's see, touchscreen settings right there. I don't know if you can see that.
No, not really. You'd have to switch back, I think, to plug that guy back in.
All right, let's do it. So right here, touchscreen settings. It's in your tool menu and third page, and you can turn them off right there as well. Oh, can't select it there anyway.
I'll stop spotlighting you, Mike.
Right. Yeah, don't spotlight.
But if I can give some advice to sport photography, OM1 second have so excellent autofocus. I don't know what sport you're taking photos, but when I'm change OM1 for OM1 second with people recognize with autofocus, it's so great and it's working so well. I'm using all points at all. I have only button with where I can choose object and lock on this object, what I want to track, and it's the great autofocus for sport without problem. With 50 to 200, it's the best, in my opinion. please try use autofocus with people recognition. I don't know what sport, because of course it depends on sport, but in 99% it's working great.
Thanks, PJ.
I wanted to brag, Mishalla, because everybody's asking about new cameras, and I have the or new products, and I have the new OM System
new
10.
Oh, is it a pen too?
Oh, it's a pen original, and it lights up. Wait, oh, there it goes. No, I'm sorry.
I have a lens cap. Yeah, I've got nothing. All right, this one it gets brought up a lot. Actually, I have seen this several times in store as well. So when you're using an old school lens, either a manual lens or like a lens baby type lens, can you set up the camera to assist with manual focus or
Absolutely.
turn on peaking?
Yes. Can I answer this? Because I learned this with Olympus years ago. Because you would think that by just turning on peaking in the menu, it's going to work. But you got to remember, with those manual lenses, there's no electronics, like you said in your question. So you have to assign a function button to peaking. So if you put peaking on one of your function buttons, when you put that lens on, just press that button and you'll get peaking. So it's absolutely possible and helpful.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, always assign it to. I learned that at Olympus too, actually on a Pen F, because I had a lens baby and I couldn't get focus peaking to work.
Yeah, I had a Leica lens come in and we couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what do we do? And then I realized it's not that the body isn't reading a lens, so you have to tell it to do peaking. It makes sense. You just have to think about it, and that's it. Yeah.
I love this. There's somebody in the chat that keeps asking all these questions as follow-ups to us talking, and I love it because everyone's helping them out and answering the question as they go along. So focus peaking, I'll go ahead and jump in here, is when you're using a lens, especially a manual lens, or if you're doing macro, it can be really helpful, but it basically lights up the areas that are in focus in a color, usually bright red. So it allows you to see what you have in focus at any given time, which is super, super helpful when you're utilizing a manual lens, or an old school lens.
That's it right there.
Yeah, so you can see on Mike's screen here, it's lighting up the parts that are in focus, although your keys are kind of red too, Mike.
I know, right? I don't know what else to do. I could focus on you guys.
But yeah. So it just highlights the areas that are in focus. There's also magnify. It's pretty commonly used in different types of macro photography or manual photography or manual focus photography.
I use it for birding with the manual focus and autofocus. So when I'm using bird focus and you have small birds like warblers going in and out of branches, a lot of times the AI focus will grab a branch. So if you grab onto your manual focus while you're autofocusing, you can use peaking to sort of highlight the bird and sort of take control.
I got a lot of questions about problem with manual lenses, and I think you can have the same, not with peaking, but if you're buying some reduction, for example, from manual lenses to our system from AliExpress or something like this, there is small dot on hole in every lenses, also in every reduction. And you must, if you buy some reduction, this small point pin should go to this small hole. If you have situation where manual lens, you plug in manual lens, some old lens to camera, and you have black screen, this is a situation when this pin don't fit to this small hole, and you must do bigger hole in Chinese reduction. And we have a lot of problem with this reduction, and that's why I'm always say that you must look for this hole and this pin always with a small reduction for manual lens.
Okay, going back into menus here for 1 second. This should apply to pretty much every camera, but I have an EM1 Mark III. My question is, can we activate a timer after pressing the shutter button while taking photo bracketing shots? So basically a shutter delay. I feel like one of you knows this.
Yeah, you should be able to do that with bracketing. I haven't bracketed since the EM13.
It's funny because there's actually another question about setting up a timer delay on your shutter, which is just, I mean, you should be able to with bracketing no matter what, because you could set the self timer in the super control panel.
Right.
Everybody's testing it right now. I love when you
know,
guys ask us questions and everyone starts testing it immediately.
I haven't bracketed in so long.
But in the super control panel, you should be able to set up just a delayed timer for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 20 seconds, or custom. And then when in bracketing,
if you choose bracketing on super control panel, you will have sequential. You need to change.
Yeah.
You need to change. You need to change. You need to change that here in silent mode settings, and here is waiting time.
There you go.
There it is. Okay. Thanks, PJ.
No problem. It's also a problem not only in bracketing, but also with HDR function. If you want to use HDR with delay, without remote control, you need to set waiting in silent mode settings.
Awesome. I love when we all end up having to figure this out together. I like when they stump the trainers for like 1 second. We know where it is. We just need to figure out how to activate it.
It's your mind going from like one thing to the other, and you just kind of, it's lumpy.
I know we're like going from like macro to bird photography to bracketing. And
I haven't done that in a while. Hold on.
Always first question in head is, this camera had this or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know in EM1 Mark III, it would technically be in a different spot in the menu too, but it's still in there in the same.
Yeah. In the same place in silent setting mode.
Right. Okay, we're coming up close on time, but this is kind of, I think, going to be more of a personal preference type of question, but is the use of 4/3 lenses on modern micro 4/3 bodies disadvantageous? Wow, I can talk today. In terms of resolution?
I would say no. You're using the body. I mean, you're using that sensor, and you're basically overlaying about half a pixel on those shots, right? So it's really the sensor doing the work, and those lenses should be fine with that sensor that we have.
The best lenses without problem, I think. The highest level lenses what you sent on this list. But if you want to use, for example, kit lens, I will not recommend old kit lens with OM1, for example. I think limit of these lenses is on 12 megapixels. This is not pro. This is this highest level. I don't remember, to be honest, what name it had. They had, but resolution of the best lenses without problem.
150 f2. That should be fine. One of those,
Oh, yep. Only problem with these lenses will be autofocus, because 20 years old, even more lenses, and even it were fast now. It's not so fast like 52 to 100 or even 40 to 150.
Yeah.
Excellent. OM1 shooting macro. How do I delay the shutter button? Can you show in the super control panel really quick, Mike, where to set the delay timer?
Yeah, you mean just in the hold on, let me turn it on here. Yeah.
I guess PJ has his plugged in too.
Be right here. Your little timer there. That's a self timer. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? I got it out of my menu. It's out of my menu.
Yeah, but that still works as a delay timer.
I mean, that'll work.
I'll switch to PJ.
Timer, but go to PJ. This is my camera, so I get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Here you can set custom and delay for one frame, but this only work with one frame. If you want to do bracketing or focus stacking, you should back to the same settings like 2 questions before: silent settings, shooting, waiting time, and use with stacking and bracketing.
Yeah, it's more specific.
Excellent. Okay, next one we might need to show on the camera. I'm not sure what camera we're talking about here, but Bolton Claudia, which I think is Claudia Bolton, wants to know, can multiple exposures be added to a button or dial?
Yes.
Yes.
I have some button settings, button function, for example, which is this one, and this is high rest. Where is it? Where is here is for multifunction. It's on multifunction. Multifunction, and if you press multifunction, you can choose. This spec. Maybe no. Sorry. Maybe I wrong.
If not, you can always do a custom mode.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm using only multi-exposure in OM3, and there is on CP button, and I was sure. No, sorry. I am wrong. You can't. You need to do custom mode, or in fastest way is choose multi-exposure and add this to my menu and have this in my menu here. And if you want to use my menu very fast, the best option is to menu cursor, start settings, and here choose my menu. And now when I press in my menu, I will be very fast in my menu. And I have all my most important function in my menu. What I can't have on buttons, for example, image stabilization assistant or multi-exposure, you can have in my menu.
All right, we're going to change gears all the way now and go to a completely different camera that I guarantee none of you have sitting on your desk right now. On the TG7, I don't think so, but is there a way to move the point of focus using the pad? I think it can only focus on the center. Hey, Mike's got one. Oh, you got one too? Yes. Richard's on it.
Mine is there.
So you're looking to move the focus point?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's only center focus on that camera.
Yeah, I can't see where you can do it. Like you can't do it like you can on the
I don't think
interchangeable.
I'm almost positive. You can see how often we do menu classes on the OMD series TG cameras versus TG, which none of us teach menu classes on.
Yeah, no, you can't. Unless I'm wrong. Wait, hold on. Let me go into P. Let me go into A.
I don't think you can. I think it's... I love this. This is like a challenge.
It's one of the limits. Yeah, it's definitely one of the limits. Yeah, let me go into menu.
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
Just so all of you out in YouTube land know, this is literally how all of us learn. We all do tech talks in different stores and events and venues across the country. And this happens often. We get a question that we're like, I don't know, but in theory, we can figure this out. And then we all get down on our cameras and start pushing buttons until we find the answer for you guys.
Yeah, you guys, we learn from you guys when we get the questions, especially out in the field. Now, autofocus area, you have all or you have single. So there's really no way to move it, I don't believe. And you have tracking.
And it's going to be center weighted focus anyway, because that's the idea behind that camera. It's a very rugged, extreme point and shoot camera.
Yeah, it's limited, but it's fantastic. I mean, it has a little bit of everything.
All right. These cameras are now computers. This is true. All right, I think we've wrapped up most of the questions and we just hit our 1 hour mark. But if we missed any of the questions, we're happy to go through and reply in the chats. You can also add to the replay later on and add questions in there. We do try to check back on those fairly regularly. Again, I will drop one more time before we leave our link to our events page, which is where we have our signups for our Zoom sessions, our deeper dives into specific topics. Like I know there was a lot of astro questions that popped up today. We also have menus classes in there too that are a little bit more in depth. I know it's hard to do these ones live in this way. As always, feel free to reach out in the comments and let us know any themes or topics that you would like to see an AMA focus on. Obviously, it's a lot easier when we focus on one thing like birds versus every menu we've ever made. But I appreciate everyone's patience with us as we tried to answer all of your questions. Quickly, somebody asked, how do I connect my camera to my iPhone and how do I want to? If you go to our YouTube channel, this YouTube channel that you're on right now, there's a video on OI Share where we did a live just like this that just covered connecting your camera to your phone using the app. So definitely go back and check that out. And thank you guys so much. Richard, who's brand new to our team and was thrown to the lions today.
Thanks, guys.
Asked to join his very first live stream. And as always, PJ and Mike for being a wealth of knowledge and having the back of camera to share with everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.